It's working. We're ready to go. Welcome. Glad you could be here. If you're just joining us, I am Dr. Joe Esposito. The next hour or so is going to change your life for the better, of course, as all our shows do. It's a lot of fun. What I do is I talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, can type in any health questions you might have. Anything. At the end of 24 minutes, John, my producer behind the camera there, is going to read me the questions. Then we're going to do another 24 minutes, and then I'm going to answer more questions. So this is an unbelievable opportunity for you to get your health questions answered. So if you have any concerns, questions, not sure about something, this is a great time to do it. Do me a favor, if you would share this with your leads, with your contacts, because this information is going to change your life. We're going to talk today about the worst foods you can eat for blood pressure and your sex life. There's a correlation there, and you're going to be interested in this. So everybody wants better sex. Everyone wants good blood pressure. Today's the show for it. So I am ready to go whenever you are, John. All right, here we go. Got to set the time. I got a big clock behind me over there. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with me today. We're going to talk about two things everybody worries about. Well, one thing everybody worries about. We're going to talk about blood pressure and your love life. We're going to talk about the worst foods that you can eat for your blood pressure, and also the worst foods you can eat for your sex life. You don't want to miss this because everybody has concerns about these things. Now, there's a correlation there, and I'll kind of cover it, and then I'll go a lot deeper as we go through. But you need blood supply for, of course, everything. But when it comes to romance, blood supply is the key. Nerve supply and blood supply are the key. And we've treated many patients with dysfunction for their love life, and many more for blood pressure. And here's the thing. We don't treat for those two things. We treat for what causes those two things. It's a big difference there. Now, not everybody's going to fit into this. This is a generalization. There are other things that can cause blood pressure aside from diet. There are other things that can cause sexual dysfunction aside from diet. But these are the things that you have control over. And it's the easiest things to take care of. So that's what makes it exciting. So if you have any questions, and write them down and then send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And I'm happy to answer your questions for you. I got to switch my seat here for a second. We're going to answer any questions you have, hopefully today, but then anything beyond that, because there's always more than what I can cover. drjoe.com, little bot pops up and says, hey, want to chat? Or on the bottom, it says contact us. Either way, the questions are going to come to me directly. It's going to come into my inbox, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. So drjoe.com, don't forget that one. That's an important one. So let's jump right in. A lot to cover. What are some of the foods that you're eating that can affect your blood pressure and also your love life, because blood pressure affects love life? How about dining out? Restaurant food. How many of you go to a restaurant? When I was young, we went to a restaurant once a year. My grandfather took us to a German restaurant on his birthday. He paid. I never understood why he paid because it was his birthday. I remember being a little kid. And we went out once a year. And every now and then, I would say maybe one or two times a year after that, we would stop coming back from my other grandparents' house at a place called Wetson's. Wetson's 10-cent hamburgers. And that was a big treat for us. That was it. Now, I personally are dining out of my house probably at least once a day. I don't mean to, but I do. I get invited to dinners. I get invited to parties. I have a luncheon meeting, and so I'm dining outside my house. So restaurant food, most of it is loaded with chemicals like monosodium glutamate, salt, shrimp fried rice. Maybe you love that, right? Loaded with sodium. Also, shrimp is loaded with mercury. Mercury is a heavy metal, and the body needs 0 mercury in its diet. So if you're eating seafood, I'm going to beg you, please, and I know you don't want to hear this, please don't eat bottom dwellers. I was going to say shellfish, but even things like catfish, flounder, fluke, if you know what that is, they're bottom-dwelling fish. Squid, lobster, all those things live on the bottom, and heavy metals will settle to the bottom of the ocean, and then these animals are sucking it in. So even when Moses wrote Leviticus, which was a long time ago, Moses said, don't eat shellfish, don't eat the bottom dwellers. Fish have to have fins and scales and swim. That was the rule. So octopi is out, shrimp were out, fish, scales and fins and swim. And so if you're going to eat those fish, make sure it's wild caught, not farm raised. Because farm raised fish, they put a bunch of fish as tight as they can pack them into these nets, basically, and they feed them things like soybeans and corn and antibiotics because infections run rampant, and not the better choice. Wild caught swimming fish. That's about it. That's your choice. So look, I'm saying so a lot today. Look at the menu and try to get things that don't have a lot of salt in them. Now, Asian food usually has a lot of salt, but you can ask them, please, go light on the soy sauce. Soy sauce oftentimes has something in it called monosodium glutamate, MSG. Now, mono and sodium are bad. Glutamate's really bad. Now, glutamate is an amino acid. We need it. It's necessary to produce a chemical in our brain called GABA. So we need glutamic acid, glutamate. But when it's super concentrated without the other amino acids, that's when it's a troublemaker. It doesn't play well by itself. So if you're putting monosodium glutamate in your food, you're getting glutamic acid as well as sodium. And that can be a real problem. Now, true soy sauce, like tamari, for example. Tamari is a fancy, to keep it simple, a cleaner soy sauce. That wouldn't be as bad. But the other ones are pretty bad. So tamari, and you can do gluten-free tamari as well, because sometimes there's wheat in the soy sauce. You want to go gluten-free as well. And that would be a slightly better choice. Or just get it without all that salt in it. The problem is you like salt. I know you do. I do too. So here's a rule on salt. If you're going to use salt, you can get it without salt. You can order it, say, I want it with no soy sauce, or whatever, if they can make it without salt, and carry with you, in a little plastic bag if you want to, Celtic salt, air-dried sea salt. And then you could add it yourself. And then Celtic salt has over 70 different minerals in it, along with sodium, so it's a lot better for you. And that's a better choice as opposed to white table salt or soy sauce or things like that. Try other flavors. Try lemon. Try spicy foods. Things like that would still make it tasty, but you're cutting out the salt. Garlic is great as well. Most adults should eat no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. How much is that? 1 teaspoon of salt a day. And if you're eating restaurant food, you're going to get a lot more than that in one meal. Certainly not in one day. Frozen foods, frozen meals are the same way. They're loaded with sodium, best to avoid them. If you need something quick every now and then, use frozen vegetables. You can do organic vegetables. One thing that I do, it's my emergency backup meal. So I usually have a salad every day. I try to eat really well, but some days I just don't have it. I'm in a rush. I got bags of frozen organic peas, little peas. And I'll take them and I'll boil them. I'll add a little extra virgin organic olive oil, garlic, air-dried sea salt, pepper, and some Italian seasoning or oregano, and I'll just mix that up. So I kind of made like a pea casserole type thing. It's quick, it's easy, doesn't have gluten in it, way better for you, high in fiber than anything else I can grab like a quick meal, and certainly better than fast food. So frozen bag of peas, you can do the same thing with broccoli, you can do the same thing with cauliflower. Boil it up, little olive oil, extra virgin organic olive oil, salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning is the way I like it, and you got yourself a meal. It's quick, it's easy, it's really cheap, and it's really good for you. Very filling, too. So that's my reserve meal when I'm in a rush. And then I decide how much salt I'm putting on, and I'm using air-dried sea salt. So if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about today is the worst foods for your blood pressure and also your love life. Now, if blood pressure is too high, that can be a problem. Because when it comes to romance, men and women, we need blood flow to our parts to make things work properly. If the blood pressure is too high, it's not going to work properly. It's kind of like the Goldilocks zone you have to be in. If the blood pressure is too low, that can be a problem. And as we get older, when it comes to our love lives, our blood vessels don't work like they used to. They don't expand and contract like they used to. They don't carry blood like they used to. And so what we really want to do is, even if the blood pressure is high, we want the blood vessels to open up. So more pressure isn't better, but opening up the blood vessels to get more blood in the area is what's going to work. And now there's a chemical, nutrient in your body. It's called nitric oxide. Not nitrous, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas, and when it's produced in your blood vessels, and it opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation to the body. As we get older, our nitric oxide levels drop. It's part of the aging process. It is what it is. So if nitric oxide levels are dropping, you can't get the vasodilation, blood vessel opening up, so you can't get the blood supply where it's supposed to go. So when it comes to romance, for men, they have these little blue pills, and men can take it, and it essentially opens up the blood vessels, forces blood into the area. That's okay, but almost every man I've ever spoken to says, I've tried that. I get a blazing headache. I get foggy. I can't stand up straight. I get dizzy. Certainly not romantic, is it? You may have function, but your body just isn't working. And so I'm not a fan of those pills if you can avoid them. And 50% of the pills don't work on men anyway. And the reason is they don't have enough nitric oxide in many cases. Give them nitric oxide, in many cases they don't need the pill. Neat how that works, right? We have a whole protocol we have for men with ED, by the way. And so I'll go off on a tangent here. If you know somebody with ED or you have it, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Type the letters ED in the search bar. A little quiz is going to pop up, a 6-question quiz. Fill it out and send it to me. It's going to come to my inbox. Nobody else is going to see it. And if I think it's something we might be able to help, I'll either send you an email or give you a call, and we'll set up a time to meet. Now, we don't treat ED. We treat some of the causes of ED. Very different. We can give you drugs. We can give you injections. That would treat the ED. I'm saying, why do you not have good blood supply? Is it a pinched nerve going to the area? Are the blood vessels just weak? Do you not have not good circulation? Maybe you don't have enough blood vessels. The blood vessels dry up as time goes on. How do we grow new blood vessels? And we have a home therapy. We have a protocol we do in the office. We have a protocol that we can give to you at home, nutrition, supplements. That's getting to the cause of the problem. Does it work on everyone? It doesn't. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Very high reward, very low risk, and very inexpensive too. So why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. Makes no sense to me. But anyway, I digress. drjoe.com, just type ED. So you have to have good blood supply to areas, get enough blood to the area, and that's going to help your love life as well as your blood pressure. So that kind of goes into salty snacks. You're eating chips, crackers, popcorn, loaded with sodium. 1 ounce serving of plain potato chips has about 200 milligrams of salt. If you're going to snack, I wish you wouldn't, actually, because it's better to just eat meals because you need to put food in your stomach, digest it, pass it on to the small intestine, then eat again. You really want to be hungry before you eat your next meal, or at least close to being hungry, because that means your stomach is empty. If you keep piling on snack after snack after snack, the food is in the stomach. It doesn't know what to digest. Do I digest the stuff you ate an hour ago? Do I eat this stuff now? How about 2 hours ago? And the food can essentially sit in your stomach and rot. And it can cause real bad problems with digestion, but also absorption. And then you can even go into things like malnutrition because you're not absorbing your nutrients properly. So nuts are good. Seeds are good. Be careful because nuts and seeds can put on weight. I get questions a lot from patients. How do I lose weight? I also get questions. How do I gain weight? And nuts and seeds and avocados are the things I recommend to help gain weight. So be careful with the cravings. What happens is this. When your body has enough nutrients, you usually don't crave snacks. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. So if you give the body the proper nutrition, many times you can go from meal to meal very easily without a problem. The supplements I love taking, in fact, the minimum supplements I think everybody should take are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They mix them together. They taste great. And take them every day. I have patients all the time, whether they're patients in our office or people from our website, say, Doc, I bought your supplements a year ago. I said, but you bought a 30-day supply. Yeah, but I still have some. Okay. It doesn't do you a lot of good sitting in the counter. You want to make sure you're taking them every day. And that's how you're going to get the best results. And also, supplements are cumulative. They build up over time. So that's why you want to take them every day. Nitric oxide is a supplement I take every day as well. It opens up the blood vessels. And that's part of the protocol we use for men with ED. And the nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, can lower blood pressure in many cases wonderfully without drugs, gives you lots of energy, opens up the nerve supply to your blood supply to your brain, your heart, your lungs, your colon, your liver. So it really helps increase circulation because as we're getting older, one of the big problems with aging is a circulatory issue. And that's many times due to nitric oxide deficiency or clogged arteries. So eating right and taking nitric oxide supplements usually works pretty well. And all those supplements, Super Green, Essential Source, Nitric Oxide, a bunch of other ones are on the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Pickled foods. Kimchi, sauerkraut, anything cooked in brine is just packed with salt. 3 ounces of pickle juice is about 900 milligrams of salt, depending on the brand. You're only supposed to have, that's like almost half your salt content for the day. Try to limit the amount of pickles you eat. Marinades from vinegar, pineapple juice, citrus, lemons, oranges, those are better. They're going to give you a tart flavor without the salt. Now, one of the things that pickles can be used for is sugar cravings. Because salt is bad for blood pressure, and so is sugar. And I was a guest on a show the other day, and I said sugar is a salt. And of course, it was on a show with a bunch of folks that have a good time on the air all the time, and they just, sugar's not a salt, sugar's a sugar. Anything that dissolves in water essentially is going to be a salt. And salt just means it ionizes, it breaks down. But sugar can cause problems as well, just like salt net can. So sugar and salt can raise your blood pressure. I did a show on that a couple of years ago on worse than salt is sugar. So if you're doing a lot of sugary things, that's not good. So let's assume you have sugar cravings. I want you to eat a dill pickle first. When you eat something really sour, it helps cut those sugar cravings tremendously. You can do vinegar as you want too, a couple of teaspoons of vinegar if you want. And that helps tremendously with sugar cravings. I had a patient just the other day, and she said, Dr. Joe, I have arthritis in both knees. I'm overweight. My doctor wants me to start taking calcium supplements along with vitamin D. I said, if you take vitamin D without vitamin K2, the calcium is going to build up in your blood vessels, and it could lead to a heart attack. She said, I take supplements, but I don't take them every day, and I eat horribly. I said, is it worth it? And she started crying. And she said, I can't stop myself. I said, I've given you supplements that can help. Have you taken them? No. If you don't take them, they don't work. So I said, commit to me this. You won't change your diet. I get that. Will you at least promise to take your supplements every day? That's all I'm asking you to do. She said yes. So we'll see what happens. But I know when I take supplements, I don't have cravings. If I don't take supplements, I start getting cravings. Because again, when I'm hungry, I'm not hungry for food. I'm hungry for nutrition. And when it comes to health, there's 3 things I want you to have. Good diet with supplements, normally functioning digestive system, and a healthy spine. How does a healthy spine fit into that? The way the body works is your brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body. So right now, your brain is sending a message to your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your colon to digest food, your prostate to work. Everything is happening because the brain has to tell it what to do by way of the nerves. And that's called vitalism. The body is functioning the most vital way it can. If you interfere with the flow of messages from the brain to the body, you have a dysfunction or dis-ease, lack of ease. That's where the word comes from, dis-ease, not at ease. And you set up a condition where the body can become sick. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, muscle weakness, sciatica, that's telling me you have pinched nerves. Get the bones put back in place. Chiropractic care is the most effective, least expensive way to put bones back in place. It's also the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So if I have anything, if I have my computer breaking, if my car doesn't work right, my air conditioner needs work, I want to do the most effective, least expensive way, don't you? Of course you do. So why wouldn't you do that with your own body? If you have health issues, make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and we'll set you up a time as soon as possible. The consultation is no charge, but if we want to move forward, which most people do, normally the first visit is $940. We've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. We do that to determine what's going to be the best course of treatment for you. Maybe it's with us, maybe it's not. But I don't want you wasting a lot of time and a lot of money to not get any answers. Anybody ever go to a doctor and not get any answers after spending a lot of money? Bet you have. So let's try to get to the cause of your problems, drjoe.com. And the supplements we talked about, the Super Greens, the Essential Source, which of course everybody should be taking. Nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels. Vitamin D is so important for so many different reasons, especially in the winter. If I was the grand poobah of the universe, I would say the law is everyone has to take, every adult, 10,000 international units of vitamin D every day. And there are many studies out how it reduces your risk of getting sick. Doesn't eliminate it, reduces it. 10,000 international units is 10 drops of Dr. Joe's vitamin D. And now vitamin D has K2 with it as well. So all the supplements, adrenal support, men's hormone support, We have something called estrogen regulator. I think every man should be on that. It helps prevent testosterone from converting into estrogen. And as we get older, we're converting testosterone into estrogen like crazy. I want to stop that. I want to keep my testosterone levels high. Estrogen regulator. So anyway, if you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, and send them to me. Best thing you can do is make an appointment, drjoe.com. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the worst foods for your blood pressure and your love life. And they're the same foods, interestingly enough, because you have to have good blood supply. And if you have tight blood vessels and they don't open up to allow blood to flow through, you might have pressure, but you don't have volume. We want to increase the volume when it comes to your love life. Breads, we talked about sugars. Breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, these are basically sugars, folks. And the sugar can raise the blood pressure and prevent the proper expansion of the blood vessels, and that can raise the blood pressure but also affect the function of your love life. Canned soups. 8-ounce can of soup can have a whole day's worth of sodium in it, 1 can of soup. Low sodium versions, they're okay. Just make your own. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, the first book I ever wrote is called Eating Right for the Health of It. And we have over 200 recipes in there, a lot of soup recipes. I love making soup. And now with things like One Pot, I think it's called One Pot. I have no affiliation with them. It's pressure cooker. It's grandma's old pressure cooker, only it's not made with aluminum like grandma used to use. And you can make soups in an hour. You can have a soup ready to go in an hour. You can do lentils, split pea, barley. Barley has gluten in it, so just be careful. Lots of different types of soups, vegetable soups, and it goes so quick and so easy, so inexpensive. You can get low-sodium vegan bouillon cubes. That's what you're looking for, is the vegan bouillon cubes, and that's going to have the herbs in it already. It takes me about 12 minutes to prepare a soup and an hour to cook it. And it's so easy and so quick, so inexpensive, low sodium. And then you could add things. You can add vinegar to it if you want to give it flavor, lemon juice. You can add garlic to it, other seasonings. And then you don't have to have all that bad salt. And if you're going to use salt, once again, you want to use Celtic salt, air-dried sea salt. If you're going to use pink salt, make sure it's not from China. The pink salts, the Himalayan salts, many times have heavy metals in them along with the salt because China doesn't harvest the salt like they're supposed to. Many cases. Not always, but many cases. So, but it's so easy to eat, right? If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and just type in, so what can I eat? And we did a whole talk on what to eat. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's way less expensive than anything you're doing right now. Tomato juice, tomato sauces, many times loaded with sodium. Make your own. It is so easy to make tomato sauce. I'm Italian, so I can tell you this. Get some organic tomatoes, chop them up, put a little extra virgin olive oil on it, some Italian seasoning, oregano, and things like that. Maybe a little air-dried sea salt and pepper. Chop up some garlic, mix it in, put it in a broiler. 20 minutes later, you got sauce. You want to make it thicker, get some organic tomato paste and mix it in. And 20 minutes, you've got a sauce. Fresh, wholesome, loaded with garlic, which is great for you in so many different ways, air-dried sea salt, and it's so much better than any jar you'll ever have. So why not just make your own tomato sauce? And again, once you do it, you're going to love it. You'll never eat any other tomato sauce again. It's so good. I like my tomato sauces thick and sweeter, so I like to use more paste, tomato paste. If you don't like it, you like it thinner, just use the tomatoes, the garlic, the seasoning, and throw it in a broiler. It really is that simple. And you got to realize that a lot of the foods, our ethnic foods, the people don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of storage. They don't have many times refrigeration. So the ethnic foods are really cheap to make because it's the street food, as they call it now. That's the new colloquialism. But it's so inexpensive and so much better. And then the tomatoes are also high in lycopene, and lycopene can help the prostate, which can help with your love life. No downside, is there? See how this all works? Processed meats, you know I'm not a fan of meats, but processed meats are loaded with salt. They're loaded with nitrates and nitrites. Nitrates becomes nitrosamines. When you heat them, nitrosamines are carcinogenic. So I'm begging you, please, if you're going to eat meat, organic only, and don't use processed meat. Processed meat is just the worst of the worst of the worst. Now, I grew up Italian. I like my cold cuts, as we call them. I haven't had them in 38 years because it's not worth it. That's the question I want you to ask when it comes to your diet. Is it worth it? If the answer is no, don't eat it. I got to go to break, folks. I'm going to be right back. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. If you want to make an appointment with us, digestive issues, nutrition concerns, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, car accidents, sports injuries, go to my website, drjoe.com. Book your appointment right now. We book up quickly. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. So many patients over my life have come to me and said the same thing. Why did I wait so long? Why didn't I do this sooner? Folks, this isn't dress rehearsal. This is our only round this life. Get it fixed as quickly as you can. drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. That was fast. Holy cow. I think the clock was moving faster today. Any questions?
I've heard that the lifespan in Japan is 92 years old, but the lifespan in the United States is about 71. Why is that?
They don't eat a lot of processed foods. They exercise regularly, even up into the 90s, regular exercising. I used to live near Kennesaw Mountain. It's a big mountain in Georgia. And I used to go for hikes up there. And I would say that 80 to 90% of the people I'd see hiking in the morning were of Asian descent. So it's part of their culture. They're also thin. They usually don't have a lot of weight on them. They don't eat a lot of processed foods, the junk foods that we eat. Our culture is getting into their culture, unfortunately. They eat seaweed, which is high in iodine. The body is almost always deficient in iodine. The only source we have of iodine many times is salt, iodized salt. But they eat seaweed, and seaweed's high in iodine, and just about every cell in the body needs iodine. So there's multiple reasons why. But it's something called the blue zones. If you ever look up the blue zones, that's where people live the longest. And the one thing, Loma Linda, California, Okinawa, Japan, Russia, up in the mountains of Russia, Italy, Slovenia? Anyway, the blue zones are where people live the longest. And the one thing they all have in common, it's not culture, it's not religion, it's not language, is they eat mostly a plant-based diet. They're not vegan, but mostly a plant-based diet. That is the common denominator. So if you want to join the blue zone folks like myself, go to a plant-based diet or mostly a plant-based diet, you'll do well. What else you got?
I cut my potatoes thin and I bake them with extra virgin olive oil and garlic salt. Is that a good approach?
Olive oil is okay if you're going to bake it. Coconut oil would be better. Coconut oil does better under heat. So that would be a better choice. Now, if you cook them and put them in a refrigerator overnight, they become a resistant starch. That means you absorb about 40% less calories if you heat them, cool them, and eat them the next day. Or cook them the next day even, but put them in a refrigerator overnight. That's a bonus tip for you. Pro tip for you. What else you got? Make sure they're organic potatoes.
Will a banana a day significantly reduce blood pressure?
It may help, but it's part of a protocol. Again, even the nitric oxide. We have people with high blood pressure. We give them 2 or 3 nitric oxide pills. 20 minutes later, the blood pressure drops 15, 20 points. Happens almost every day in our office. When the blood pressure is high, we want to see why. We give them the nitric oxide weight and the blood pressure drops. It almost always works. So banana can help, but it's part of a protocol. It's not the protocol. So I have no problem with the banana. Just don't think it's going to be your end-all, be-all. What else you got?
If you're drinking lots of water, I've heard that you need to add electrolytes or you'll be going to the bathroom all day. Is that true?
Well, if you drink a lot of water, you're going to the bathroom all day anyway. The electrolytes, you do pee out some of your electrolytes, but if you're taking Super Greens and Essential Source and B-Complex, you're getting way more electrolytes than you'll ever need, and you'll be fine. And you should be taking Super Greens, Essential Source, and B-Complex every day anyway, and then drink the water, and you'll be fine.
Is 1 avocado a day too much?
If you start putting on weight, yes. If it's not, no. I know I have to be careful with my avocados. I put on weight real fast if I eat an avocado. I don't know why. Other people can eat them and not. My metabolism. So if you're putting on weight, just be careful with that. What else you got?
That is all.
All right. Let's do part 2 here. Take a little more tea. Slippery elm tea is very good for your vocal cords and your whole digestive system, actually. Let's see what throat clear. La, 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 la. All right. We're ready. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you're staying with us, I appreciate that. I know everybody's busy, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day. We're talking today about the worst foods you can eat for your love life and for your blood pressure. And ironically, oftentimes the same food. And then we're going to talk about what to eat to get good circulation for your blood pressure, but also for your love life. And I've done shows, The Food Romance Connection, many times. This is kind of a spin-off on that. So, pizza. I know, I'm Italian too. 4-ounce slice of pizza can have about 730 milligrams of calories of sodium in it, and you only want to have about 1,200 every day anyway. So that's almost more than half of it. 4-ounce slice of pizza from a restaurant, about the same. You can do smaller pieces, of course. Now, I like pizza. I'm Italian. I think I have to. It's the law. But we use high gluten flour in the pizza. And gluten is a protein that's really hard to digest. Then we add cheese to it, which of course I'm not a fan of dairy products for many reasons. And all it is bread and cheese with a little sauce on it. Now, there are gluten-free pizza doughs out there, and they're not bad. I'll be honest with you if something's bad or not. So gluten-free might be a better way to go, but you got to realize that either way, it's still a bunch of sugar. It's like eating tablespoons of sugar. And then we had the salt on it. We said sugar is also bad for blood pressure and love life as well as salt, so it's not your ideal food. I like it, but it's not the ideal food. If you drink alcohol, a couple of things we got to talk about here. One thing that alcohol does, it lowers your testosterone levels. Now, testosterone is important for romance, of course, but it's also important for your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, your muscles. So testosterone is not just a sexy hormone. It does a lot of things, and alcohol will lower your testosterone levels. You will suffer. Your health will suffer if you drink alcohol. Now, I'm also a realist. If you're going to drink, my rule is this. 3 glasses of water for every 1 drink that you have. Because what that's going to do is start to rehydrate your body, because alcohol shuts down a chemical in your brain called vasopressin. Vasopressin prevents you from peeing all day. It's also called antidiuretic hormone. Alcohol lowers that hormone so that you can pee more to flush the alcohol out of the system. So we need to rehydrate. So if you're going to drink, and I wish you wouldn't, if you're going to drink, you want to take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, a scoop of each before you go out with a Dr. Joe's B complex. And when you come home, I want you to do Super Greens and Essential Source again. Now, I shouldn't tell you how to avoid hangovers, because I want you to suffer, because I don't want you drinking. But I'm also a realist, so that's a little trick that a lot of people have told me works real well. I don't drink, I don't know, but that's a little trick. And you should take Super Greens and Essential Source every day anyway. I don't know why you're not taking it. I can't imagine why you're not. But here's what I want to tell you. If you purchase it from us, and I think you should, you got to take it. It does you no good sitting in the counter. If it's in the container, it's not doing you well. You want to make sure you're taking it on a daily basis. That's when you see it, because the benefits are cumulative. It kind of builds up. So think about that. Are you ready to make that commitment? And I wish you would. And my challenge is always this. I said, give me 30 days. Give me 60 days. Do what I say. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what? But I'm not wrong. Do what I say and see what happens. I think, well, I can't say I know, but I think you'll be very pleased with the results. If you have any questions, you're not sure what to take, what not to take, specific issues, send me questions through the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Little bot pops up. It says on the bottom, contact us. Either way, it's going to come to my inbox, and I'm happy to answer your questions for you. So drjoe.com, boy, what a source of information. We have over 4,000 hours of content on that website. It's a massive nightmare, that website. So you can type in the search bar what you're looking for, and chances are we've covered that topic. So drjoe.com. Other foods that are bad for your love life and your blood pressure. Cheese. Cheeses are naturally low in sodium. However, processed and hard cheeses, like American cheeses, cottage cheeses, have more sodium, but also they have saturated fats in them, and not the good saturated fats. These are the bad saturated fats. And so what happens is your blood has something in it called red blood cells, carries oxygen. And when you eat something with a lot of saturated fats, it can clump your red blood cells together and prevent you from carrying oxygen through the body. And oxygen is the key to healing. It's the key to performance, whether it's romantic or sports or brain. You look at people like Tom Brady, mostly a plant-based diet. And he played well into it way past when he should have. And one of the reasons is that he ate a plant-based diet. He exercised, right? He did yoga, he rested. But the plant-based diet was really a key for people, and that's peak performance. And when you want to go do peak performance, I always recommend a plant-based diet. So I wouldn't recommend doing dairy products. It's not something I do. I haven't had a dairy product in over 39 years, I think it is. I wouldn't recommend you eat them either. But if you're going to eat dairy products or meat, I'm going to recommend organic only. This way you avoid the steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified food, glyphosate. The organic at least gives you a better shot. I also understand you're not going to do everything I say, most of you. So pick and choose what resonates with you. You know what, Dr. Joe, I can give up artificial sweeteners. You know what, Dr. Joe, I can give up cheese. Dr. Joe, I can do organic meats. I can drink water if I'm going to, and take super greens and essential oils if I'm going to drink alcohol. Pick and choose what resonates with you, because every little step you take is better than what you're doing right now. How easy is that? Little tiny steps. That's all I want you to do. If nothing else, at least commit to take the supplements. Super Green, Essential Source, B Complex, Vitamin D. I take nitric oxide every day. I take estrogen regulator, prevent my testosterone from converting into estrogen. I take men's hormone support to give me the DHEA, which is the precursor to my hormones. I take omega-3 fatty acids because they're essential. You have to have them every day. It's essential. Not every day, but you have to have them often. Essential fatty acids for my brain to work, to control inflammation, keep me young. At this point in my life, and I was just talking to a patient the other day, and he's around my age, and he says, Doc, man, I'm here. He comes in every 2 weeks, has been for years. He said, I just want to get a tune-up and ask any questions I have. I said, great, Don. It's great seeing you, man. And he said, at this point, it's a lot of maintenance. I said, yeah, we've made it this far. Why are you going to throw it all away? You won. Let's enjoy that victory by taking care of yourself. So make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com. Be careful with condiments, ketchup, soy sauce, salad dressings, loaded with sodium. Many times other chemicals like carrageenan, which is not good for you either, maltodextrin, which is spike your blood sugar. And so that's why I always recommend make your own. Salad dressing is the biggest ripoff ever. You can make your own with oil and vinegar. Extra virgin organic olive oil, vinegar. I like organic balsamic vinegar. And apple cider vinegar, 2 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. Add some seasoning to it, shake it up, and use that. And I know we live in a very fast-minded world. We like to have our food fast. Make a big jar of it, leave it in the refrigerator. In my book, Eating Right for the Health of It, we have a great recipe for a ginger salad dressing, which is by far my favorite salad dressing ever. And it's delicious. And I make a big batch of it, leave it in my refrigerator, and I'll just use it. And when I'm done, I'm kind of over it for a while, so then I'll leave it there, and I'll come back to it in a couple of months or so. But, yeah, you can actually make something healthy, or you can make something that's expensive and not really good for you. So be careful with that. So we talked a lot about the foods you want to avoid if you have blood pressure issues and also for better romance. Now let's put a positive spin on it. Let's talk about the foods to improve circulation. What's going to increase my circulation, lower my blood pressure, help me function better in every aspect of my life, including the bedroom. So circulation is the key. A healthy diet is probably the best way to improve circulation. You want to do exercise, weight control, hydration, of course not smoking. I don't think I have to say that. But there are certain foods that can actually help or improve your circulation. And the good news is that they're healthy for you. So they're healthy for you to increase circulation, help improve your love life. They're cheaper than anything you're doing right now, may extend your life expectancy, help reduce risk of heart disease, increase circulation to the brain, which can help with things like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's in many cases. Why wouldn't you do this? Let's go through that list. Number 1, spicy peppers, cayenne peppers. It's going to spice up your food, but it has something in it called capsaicin. Cayenne pepper can help, and capsaicin is spicy, but can open up the blood vessels and increase circulation. It relaxes the blood vessels, and that's what's helping opening up. So it's good for blood pressure. It's also good so you don't have to add so much salt to your diet because it's going to add some seasoning to it. Now, some people like it very spicy. Some people like it not so spicy. Little bit, whatever works best for you is going to be fine. And with the herbs, ounce for ounce, you're not going to get a bigger bang for your buck when it comes to nutrition, aside from supplements. Ounce for ounce, herbs are going to have the highest concentration of nutrients with very little side effects. So why wouldn't you do something like hot pepper? Beets are great. You see a lot of supplements out there now with beet powder. I like it. Beets are high in nitrates. Nitrates convert into nitric oxide. A, the supplements are too expensive. B, they're not as strong as I want them to be. So what's better than beets? How about something called arugula? You know what arugula is? Arugula is like a lettuce almost. You put it in salad. It has a little bitterness to it. But arugula has way more nitric oxide in it than beets. Now, if you do an arugula and beet salad with a little apple cider vinegar and a little touch of cayenne pepper, now you've got a blood pressure superfood. How about that? And a romance superfood. When I do a lecture, it's called the Food Romance Connection. You can go to my website, drjoe.com. I think we have it on there. And we talk about what's going to be the best foods for romance and worst foods for romance. And arugula salad with beets and a little cayenne pepper and apple cider vinegar, that's one of the foods I have on there as the best foods for romance. If you want to listen to it, the whole show, you can go to drjoe.com and listen to it. But beets are great. The supplements are good. Dr. Joe's nitric oxide is way better, in my opinion. I always say it's like the beet powders on steroids. They have so much more effect, and that's why I like Dr. Joe's nitric oxide. And we use citrulline. I had a patient come in the other day with ED, and we talked about the protocol that we use. He was very happy to do that. He said, I may be getting back with my ex-wife. He says, and I've been wanting that for years. And she has certain parameters that she's willing to consider. And one of them is that we have to have normal circulation, if you know what I mean. And I said, great, here's the protocol that we use. And he said, Doc, I can't thank you enough. He says, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to take pills and injections. I tried those. They didn't help, really, and they hurt me and made me dizzy and brain fog. And I said, let's give this a shot. And I think it's going to work because it usually does. That's the ED protocol. And he asked me about arginine. Arginine converts into nitric oxide. So does citrulline. So does nitrates. Arginine can stimulate herpes virus and cause herpes outbreaks. Now, there's like 100 different types of herpes viruses. There's oral, there's genital, there's shingles. And he said, he looked at me, he says, that's funny you say that because I have herpes. And he says, and I don't know why I kept having outbreaks. I said, you eat a lot of peanuts? He goes, I love peanuts. Peanuts are high in arginine, which can stimulate the herpes virus. He said, Doc, is there anything you don't know? I said, yeah, probably. I'm learning. But yeah, so stay away from peanuts for many reasons. They're bad omega-6 fatty acids in them. They have a fungus on it called mycotoxin. Not a fan of peanuts. It's my opinion. If you eat them, it's up to you. Other nuts are okay, but the peanuts are the ones that are higher in arginine, so just be careful with that. I'd rather have the citrulline because the citrulline doesn't affect the herpes virus. Berries are great for circulation. They're loaded with antioxidants. It's particularly good for your blood vessels. Anthocyanin. There's proanthocyanidins, anthocyanidins, but there's one antioxidant. It gives red and purple color to things like grapes, and it can help protect the walls of the arteries from damage and keep them from becoming stiff, and it also spurs the release of nitric oxide. So berries are great. Now, we use berries in Dr. Joe's Essential Source. It's one of the ingredients. And one of the reasons is it has such great antioxidants, which can then stimulate the release of nitric oxide, which can help with the blood vessels. And that's a big issue. So you want to be careful with the berries. If you're going to get them, try to do organic, because the berries, especially things like strawberries, blackberries, they have little ridges in them. If they spray them with pesticides, the pesticides are going to be there. So try to do organic berries if you can. But Super Greens and Essential Source is a quick, easy way to do it, and a lot cheaper too. But I like berries. I have no problem with berries. And still, berries are better than hamburgers. If you're going to do one or the other, berries are going to be a lot better than hamburgers. So even if you're doing non-organic berries, it's better than eating a cheesesteak. Just throwing it out there. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the best foods for blood supply now and for romance, because you need blood supply to have good romance. But many times the missing link that's never discussed when it comes to blood supply, whether it's for romance or blood pressure, is the nervous system. The nervous system controls everything. And your brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body. So there's nerves that control your sex organs, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, your kidneys, your thyroid. I believe that no matter what your health issue is, you want to check the nerve supply to that area. Whether it's stomach issues or colon issues or prostate issues or lung issues, do everything else, but make sure the nerve supply is working properly, because the nerve supply controls everything. And if you have nerve issues, the body cannot function at 100%. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, that's a sign that you have pinched nerves. 90% of the nerves don't feel pain. So you can have pinched nerves and not know it. That's why in our office, we check the nerves that feel pain and we check the nerves that don't feel pain. So if you have a health issue, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, headaches, nutrition concerns, make an appointment to come see us. That's for you, your friends, your family, and your children. If children start out healthy, it's usually a lot easier to keep them healthy. If you want to make an appointment, which you should, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. I want to be your doctor. I want to help get to the cause of your problem and not just treat the symptoms. I'm okay treating the symptoms, but I also want to get to the cause at the same time. And many times you treat the cause, you don't have any symptoms, which is kind of cool. So make an appointment, drjoe.com. We accept most insurances. My staff will answer all those questions for you. Normally, the first visit is $940. For you, my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. That's going to determine what's going to be the best direction or course of treatment that we think is going to be appropriate for your condition. We want to find out why. And if you want to do that, go to my website, drjoe.com. Do it soon. And the reason I say that is, A, we book up pretty quickly, but B, why are you suffering? Stop suffering needlessly. Get to the cause of your problem. drjoe.com. Again, I want to be your doctor. There's no reason not to do it. Why wouldn't you do it? Convenient offices, convenient hours, very inexpensive. Maybe get to the cause of my health problem? Sounds like a good plan to me. drjoe.com. Book it. And if you have any questions, you can send them to me through the website as well, drjoe.com. So right now we're talking about the best foods for good circulation. Pomegranates, those little tiny seeds, they're great. They can help widen up your blood vessels, open up your blood vessels because they're high in nitrates, which nitrates convert into nitric oxide, and antioxidants. So the more oxygen and nutrients that you can deliver to the muscles and to the organs, the better off we're going to be. To a point, of course. But as we get older, we do lose circulation. We do lose the ability to bring nutrients and oxygen to the area. So why not fight that? If you don't want to fight it, that's okay. But I want to be around as long as I possibly can and be as healthy as I possibly can. And so that's why I think that's a good idea. Garlic is great. Now, garlic can give you bad breath. If you eat garlic and get bad breath, you can chew parsley. Parsley is high in chlorophyll, and that can help counteract your bad breath. But aside from that, there's a compound called allicin that's in garlic, and that helps relax the blood vessels as well. Studies show that people who eat a diet rich in garlic, blood flows much more effectively. And I always joke with my Italian grandparents, they always smelled like garlic. They ate garlic 3 meals a day, I think, and they had 10 kids. So maybe there's something to that blood flow thing. The heart doesn't work as hard if the blood vessels are more relaxed and you're having good circulation, and that keeps your blood pressure down, but also allows blood volume to get into the sex organs for men and women. So garlic can help too. And again, you could eat garlic, and you don't have to eat it every day, but it's good for you. Walnuts are great. They're high in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are great for inflammation. I take Dr. Joe's omega-3 fatty acids every day. You should too. It's an essential fatty acid. You have to have it for optimum health. And you can go to website, drjoe.com. All the supplements, by the way. Super Green, Central Source, Nitric Oxide, B-Complex, which everybody should be taking. Vitamin D, everybody's deficient unless you're out in the sun all day, most of the day, I'm sorry, or you're taking a supplement. And vitamin D is the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. Men's hormone support to help build, and women's hormone support. Estrogen regulator, help prevent my testosterone from converting into estrogen. Women, if you're through menopause, don't take estrogen regulator. It's not for you. It's for men and childbearing year women. Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. I take turmeric supplements every day. I take about 10 supplements every day. Why? Because I know how they work. If you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. It's just that simple. I can't do it any other way knowing what I know. I can't eat certain foods knowing what I know. I can't not take supplements knowing what I know. And you should do that too. And you don't have to know everything I do, but that's why I'm here. We can customize a plan specifically for you, your friends, your family. Just go to my website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment, send me questions through the website, search the website. Do me a favor. Follow me on social media. I know we're together here for a few minutes. We post every single day on social media. So if you go to, just look up Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. And just follow us. No reason not to. It's free. If you don't like it, unfollow it. If you really want to be part of the cool kids, we have a newsletter we send out. Go to my website, drjoe.com. It's right on the first page of the website. Sign up for the newsletter. And we send out little tidbits, fun facts. Sometimes we do pop-up lectures. I've given away concert tickets in the past. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. How can I make this any easier for you? We have convenient locations. We have the podcasts. Podcast, by the way, is Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. So we have the podcast. We have the social media posts. YouTube has the long version of everything. So other social media is a short version of everything. On the website, we archive every show I've ever done. They're all on the website that you can listen to. Send me questions through the website, drjoe.com. I don't know what else to do, folks. I want to be your doctor. I really do. And blood supply and romance go hand in hand, and you need to have one to have the other. If you have romantic issues, gentlemen, you have ED, that's a warning sign telling you something's wrong. That's not the problem. It's the symptom. Same way with ladies. Why are my hormones off? We can do something called a Dutch test, which is an amazing test to dig really deep into your hormones. Not just take your blood and say, oh, it's estrogen, testosterone, estradiol. We dig deep and try to find out why the hormones are not working properly and what can we do to fix the broken link in the chain. Because hormones, one thing becomes another, becomes another, becomes another, becomes a hormone. Where's the break in the chain? Can we fix it? Sometimes we can. Most times we can. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. It's free shipping for all orders over $50, which, we wanted free shipping all the way across the board, but we try to keep our prices as low as possible. And I compare it to, nothing's comparable to us, but even supplements similar to ours, we are way, way lower than everybody. And I do that because I really want you to have access to these things. But you have to do your part. You have to take the supplements when you get them. I can't force feed them to you. Leave them out on your counter. I have them on my kitchen counter. I have them in a basket, actually. And if I have company coming over, I have to clean the counters, I move the basket into the pantry. Take it back out, sits on the counter. This way I know I'm going to see them every day. Now, I know I've been trained, I've been taking supplements for 40 years now, but I still need to leave them out so I don't forget. It's a very simple process. And Super Greens and Essential Source are great. If you buy Essential Source, Super Greens, I like the mint flavored. We're coming out with some new flavors. Berry flavored Essential Source is coming out soon. And mango, berry Super Greens is coming out. Mango Essential Source is coming out soon too. So that's why if you follow us on social media, if you get the newsletter, you're going to find out exactly what's happening. What's new? What's the latest and greatest research so that you can get well and stay well. Supplements, in my opinion, are not a luxury. They're a necessity. If your goal is to stay as healthy as you possibly can, they are a necessity. And I can help you navigate that whole mess because supplements can be a little tricky sometimes, and you want to make sure you're taking the right ones, that you don't take ones you don't need, and to certain forms. Like calcium carbonate, I don't recommend calcium carbonate for anybody. It's a cheap form of calcium. It blocks up your receptor sites. It doesn't work as well as the other forms of calcium. Magnesium citrate might give you diarrhea if you take it. It's okay, but you want to be careful with it. And I want to be your coach. I really want to help get you well and keep you well. So, folks, if you have erectile dysfunction problems, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, we have acoustic wave therapy, which is amazing for joints. If you've been told you have arthritis in your joints or you may need a joint replacement, come see us. Let's see if we can put together a protocol to break up scar tissue, increase circulation. In many, many cases, people have not needed those joint replacements or maybe put them off for many years. So we have protocols, and I have doctors, if it's not within my scope of practice, that I can refer you to. I want to be the captain of your ship. I want to say, okay, this is your healthcare ship, and which is going to be the best way to go, most effective, least expensive for your specific case. So once again, folks, the website is drjoe.com, drjoe.com, social media, Dr. Joe Esposito, at Dr. Joe Esposito, and the podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Okay. You got questions?
Should I have a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar before dinner?
Yes. Raw organic apple cider vinegar. Helps with digestion as well. What else?
What are your thoughts on balsamic vinegar?
I like it. If you're going to do it, make sure it's organic. It's not as good as apple cider, but I like it because it's not as tart. I don't like tart foods. So.
I've heard that it's good to pair baked potatoes with another food to keep your blood sugar okay. Is that
yeah, if
true?
you eat a protein with a carbohydrate, the protein slows down the process. Or also fiber, like if you had baked potato and Brussels sprouts or something like that. Yes, that can help control the blood spike. Absolutely.
I have low blood pressure, and I've been advised to take more sodium after extensive medical testing. What is a good level? My intake now is 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams a day.
Well, I want you to do air-dried sea salt, not sodium chloride, not table salt. If you do that, you can do a teaspoon or two a day. That's fine, even 3 a day. But if you have low blood pressure, you always want to think about the adrenal glands. The reason they're saying eat sodium is because it can affect the adrenal glands, which controls adrenaline, and that can affect blood pressure. So you probably want to consider Dr. Joe's Adrenal Support, Super Greens, and Essential Source as well, along with the salt, and only Celtic air-dried sea salt, and then a couple of teaspoons a day is fine.
Which is better for bowel movements and overall health, intestinal cleanser or magnesium citrate, and why?
Intestinal formula I like better because magnesium citrate just gives you the runs. The intestinal formulas that we have actually cause the colon to start contracting and get it to start working again. You can take, X-Lax, for example. It just cleans you out. It doesn't do anything about the muscles and the control of the colon. That's why I like the intestinal formula. So.
That is all.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it as always. Please follow me on social media. And any questions, drjoe.com. See you soon.